I guess your first question has got to be, how do I win it? And the best advice I can give you is how I'd go about winning it. But before we get to that, the thing to look at is what we're looking for. And we're looking for the two best drivers. We're not looking for one guerrilla lap and then an untidy looking car. We're looking at times. We're taking times of laps, but we're only looking at the best 4. So we're looking for consistency, because from your point of view, to win the competition, you're in a fully sponsored top Commodore at Bathurst, and from our point of view, the two best drivers are going to finish Bathurst. Bathurst is a 6-hour race, 1,000 kilometres. Very few people in this country get the opportunity to do 1,000 kilometres, and it's hard. But consistency will bring you home, and consistency will win you this competition. So I'm going to keep saying that. I have said it in print, and I'm going to keep saying it again. We're looking for people who can keep a car straight and smooth. They're not going to destroy tyres at Bathurst. They're not going to destroy gearboxes at Bathurst. They're going to cope with conditions, because the smoothest drivers in the dry are the quick ones in the wet. And I just can't say it enough, and I'm going to bore you to pieces. Keep saying the smoothness is what we're looking for, to coerce the motor car around, not to take it by the scruff of the neck. You conduct, you have to accept that this is a machine and you are meat, and you're the conductor, so you conduct the machinery. You coerce it into doing what you want it to do consistently, lap after lap. When you're out on the track in the Group E cars, you'll be sent out of the pits at spaced intervals. I don't want a race, because when you're in a race mode, all your mind and your faculties are involved in beating the other guy. That's not what we want to see. I want to see the guys who have, and the people who have the consistency in the motor car. So one of the ways I'm going to help you there is to remove the race environment. You are being competitive in a motor car because you're in a competition and we're after the best people. But I can help you by saying you're not in a motor race, and therefore if a car catches you from behind, it doesn't mean that he's doing necessarily mean that car's doing a better job than you. And similarly, if you catch a car in front. So you'll be sent out of the pits at spaced distances, and I want you to keep that space. Now, I don't mean that the guy in front's going very slowly, so you've got to go that slowly. I mean, if you catch the person in front, that's fine, that's a plus. But I don't want you overtaking, because he's not going to be expecting it, and who knows what could happen. You're both going for the same bit of road, and Larry Perkins and I have done that a few times. Always change a few mirrors. We don't want that. We don't want that to be part of this competition. So when you catch a car in front of you, come past the pit signalling area with your arm fully out the window to indicate that I have caught the person in front and I'm overslowing so that I can get enough gap to work away at it. Now, the reason I keep saying this is that from my own experience, there are two attitudes that I drive a car with. One is the normal race driving and the testing mode, which is, the testing mode in particular is probably about 85% of input. I'm driving the car only to 85% maximum of my ability in that car on that day. That way my mind is sort of open, and I can feel what the front shocks are doing, the rear springs and the front roll bar, and I can listen to the engine, I can pick a snickiness in the gearbox. All my faculties are wide. And on the other hand, when I go out to qualify, it's almost as though you put the white band on around the outside of the helmet with the Japanese characters on the front. It's you go out to do one singular job, and that is to go around this piece of bitumen to your absolute ability. Now, when I go out and concentrate like that, my faculties narrow, my vision narrows, I don't know what the car's done. I may go out and do a very good time, come back in and the mechanics will say, is that understeer gone? Or hopefully they say, boy, it was a good time, it must have gone. I don't know. I honestly wouldn't have a clue, because I am just dedicated to do one job. So what I'm saying to you is that you're not going to learn anything from these drives in the Group E, and hopefully for you in the Group A. You're not going to learn anything if you've got that narrow approach, because you won't have the slightest idea what the car's doing, you won't know where your hands are, half the time you won't know what gear you're in. So keep yourself just back from that edge. Keep yourself about 85%, because then you're aware of where you are, you're aware of where your hands are, and I keep talking about slow hands. I think it's one of the most important things in driving a race car. You do a lot of the steering with your feet. The steering you do with the hands is singular. You should be able to assess the corner, put that amount of lock on, and steer the car through the corner with your accelerator. So slow the hands down. But to enable you to do that, to think of these things, when you're out there with the helmet and the three-piece overall, to enable you to remember the things that you've read and that I'm saying to you and trying to help you with, you've got to be back a little bit. You've got to be about 85%. Otherwise it won't come to you. You'll be just so distraught, locked up in this hot little box, that you'll be looking for lifelines. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the two best drivers, from my point of view, to finish at Bathurst. So bear that in mind all the way, and good luck to you all. Let's have a look at some driving from inside the car. Let's look at the tips that we've already spoken about in print, and because we're only going around at sort of, I guess maximum would be fast highway speed, this is the only hat that I'll be wearing today. I haven't got the three-piece on, haven't got the helmet, and I'm not going to be outrageous because I get frightened. So let's have a look. First thing, the seating. You've got to be comfortable in the car. Our seats in these cars are adjustable both forward and back and up and down. So get comfortable. You've got to be comfortable to operate anything with control and dexterity. To try and do anything with control, you've got to be comfortable, and that to me means a bend in the wheel. The boy racer long arm approach, I just can't see any logic for. It's not a thing that gives you control in your fingertips, and this is a fingertip instrument, not something that you try to tear off the dash. So about that sort of a bend in your arm suits me. You might want to be a little bit further away, a little bit closer. Everybody's a little different. But you've got to be comfortable in the position. So adjust your seat, take that little bit of time, get yourself comfortable, and in relationship to the wheel. The belts are most important. We've gone to the expense of getting you the best types of buckles, quick release. They're a good quality belt, and they're totally useless unless you tighten them up. So you can see that that is tight. In fact, I can get it a bit tighter, so I will. Now, that's difficult to get your hands under there. A rule of thumb is, if the belts are tight enough, first of all, of course, the waist belt, then the shoulder straps. If they're tight enough, they feel uncomfortable at rest. Because when you're out there working in the car, you'll find yourself going back in the seat, in the rubber, and they'll become a little looser. And while you're driving, there's no belt made that stays exactly as tight as you put it. So give them a snig up when you're in the straight. Keep them tight, keep them tight. The reason is very simple. If you accept that the steering wheel is an instrument and the pedals are instruments with which you control the car, how are you going to be precise with them if you're rocking and rolling around in the car? You've got to anchor your trunk in the motor car so that your legs and your arms can do these delicate jobs, and it's a delicate business. The footrest also is all part of this balance. That's the one thing that you can brace your body with so that you can work the instruments called the brake and the accelerator. So the footrest can pick your balance up. With your trunk anchored in the seat, with your left foot braced, you can completely control your heel and your toe on these two instruments on the floor. and the steering wheel, of course. If you're flopping around in your seat, what do you tend to do? You tend to hang onto the steering wheel to brace yourself, to keep yourself up. Now, how are you going to be accurate and precise with the steering wheel if you're using it as a grab handle? So get the belts tight and keep them tight. Similarly with the gear changes when we're going around. Don't hang onto the gear stick as though someone's trying to bloody pinch it off you. The gear stick is also an instrument that you use to change gears with, not to try and tear out of the dash, because as soon as you start tightening up in the hand and the wrist on the gear stick, you'll miss gear changes. If you miss gear changes, you'll over-rev the engine. Your life is, as a race car driver, is very limited if you keep breaking gearboxes. So let's get started and start feeling this car. That was automatic. I looked at the rear vision mirrors, not to create an impression, but because it's an automatic thing. It's more important to look at the rear vision mirrors on the racetrack than it is on the road, and it's important on the road. But every car is just a little bit different. So as you come out of the pits first time, just feel the car. Just feel it. I'm going very slowly, I'm still in second. Just feel it. Get comfortable in it. You're already in an environment that's unusual to you. So is that a bit of roughness? Unusual to me. Just feel the pedals. First application, just like on the road. Back a gear, that was simple. Just feel the motor car. Look as far ahead as you can. There's a lot of track there, we're going to use it all. We're going to be wide coming into corners, right tight in corners, and wide coming out. But just feel the car. The track's new to you. The environment's new. This 3-layer fireproof clothing is new. The helmet's new. So feel it all slowly. A couple of laps like this really is necessary.